You remember summers that felt endless. A single school year that seemed to last forever. September to June, stretching out like its own small lifetime. The first week of a new grade felt like it lasted longer than last December does now. And somehow, in the years since, entire 12-month stretches slide by before you've even noticed them starting. Same 24 hours in a day. Same 60 seconds in a minute. Nothing about the clock has changed. And yet your own life feels like it's playing on fast forward, and it keeps getting faster. Most people assume this is just nostalgia, or the stress of adult responsibility, or simply having fewer genuinely new experiences to mark the days apart from one another. But that's not quite right. And the real explanation is far stranger. Time isn't speeding up around you. The clock on your wall is exactly as honest as it's always been. Your brain is quietly changing how much of that time gets recorded in the first place, and the less it records, the less life you get to feel like you actually lived, even though you were there for every single second of it. The first person to formally describe this wasn't a neuroscientist at all. In the 1890s, French philosopher Paul Janet proposed what's now sometimes called Janet's Law. A year feels shorter as you age because it's a smaller fraction of the total life you've lived so far. A single year at age 5 is 20% of your entire existence, an enormous slice of everything you've ever known. That same 12 months at age 50 is only 2%, a rounding error next to everything that came before it. Mathematically, of course, each year should feel like it's shrinking relative to the pile of years behind it. It's a tidy explanation, and it's been repeated for well over a century. It's also, according to modern neuroscience, only scratching the surface of what's actually happening inside your head. Here's where it gets stranger. Neuroscientist David Eagleman, who has studied time perception extensively, proposes that your sense of duration isn't measured like a stopwatch at all. It's built after the fact, out of memory, specifically out of how densely your brain was recording new information while an experience was happening. When you're a child, nearly everything is unfamiliar. A new classroom, a new best friend, the first time you ride a bike without someone holding the seat. Your brain lays down memory in enormous, high-resolution detail because almost none of it is routine yet. When you're an adult, driving the same commute down the same road to the same job, your brain barely bothers to encode most of it at all. It's efficient. It's also, quietly, erasing you. Two people can live through the exact same stretch of clock time, a Tuesday, a whole autumn, a decade, and yet one of them might feel it all slipping by, while the other feels like they've barely been there at all, and walk away with wildly different amounts of memory to show for it. And when you look back later, your brain doesn't check a clock to judge how long that period felt. It checks how much material it has to sort through. Thin memory reads as a blur. Thick memory reads as time well spent. But there's another layer to this, and it might be the strangest part of all. In 2007, Eagleman and colleagues Chess Stetson and Matthew Fiesta ran an experiment to test something people say constantly, that time slows down in moments of real fear. They took volunteers up to a specialized freefall platform and dropped them backward, no cords attached, until a net far below caught them. A genuinely terrifying fall lasting only a few seconds. Strapped to each volunteer's wrist was a small digital display, flickering numbers faster than normal perception should be able to read. If time really slows down during fear, the researchers reasoned, people should suddenly be able to read faster flickering digits than usual, the same way slow-motion footage reveals more detail than real-time ever could. They couldn't. Not one participant read the display any better during the fall than they could sitting safely on the ground, feet on solid concrete. Perception itself never sped up, not even slightly. And yet almost every single person afterward was certain the fall had taken far longer than it actually did, estimating their own drop as noticeably longer than the falls they'd merely watched other people take. That's the part that reframes everything. Time didn't slow down during the fear. Memory got denser during the fear. Terror is one of the most novel, high-alert states your brain can enter, so it recorded that fall in extraordinary frame-by-frame detail, the same way a first day of school or a first heartbreak gets recorded in extraordinary detail. Later, when your brain estimates how long something took, it isn't replaying a stopwatch, it's counting the thickness of the memory file. A thin file, even from an hour that objectively lasted just as long as the fall, gets compressed down to almost nothing. Your brain was never timing your life from the outside, the way a clock on a wall does. It's been quietly grading how much attention you paid to being inside it, this whole time, without ever telling you the score. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If your sense of how much life you've lived isn't actually measured in years, but in how much of each year you were awake enough to notice, then is it possible that two people the exact same age, who've lived through the exact same number of days on the exact same calendar, have genuinely lived different amounts of life? And if that's true, what does it mean that most of your adult years might already be quietly compressing down to almost nothing, while you're barely paying enough attention for your own brain to bother keeping a copy? So here's what's actually happening every time another year disappears faster than the one before it. It isn't that time itself is accelerating. It isn't that your brain is broken, or getting old, or simply running out of steam. It isn't even that adulthood truly contains less to experience than childhood did. It's that routine is the most efficient thing a brain can do, and efficient means unrecorded, and unrecorded means later, when you go looking for that year, there's almost nothing there to find, so it feels like it never really happened at all. The strange truth isn't that your life is speeding up. It's that most of it was never being written down to begin with, quietly, a Tuesday at a time. And the only years that will ever feel long when you look back are the ones where you were paying enough attention for your own brain to bother keeping the receipt.